to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Josh, Justin, and we've got Kenny McAttack from the Great White North with us tonight. Woo! We are coming to you virtual for the preview episode. No Dog Pack Discord episode this week with the holidays coming up. Schedules are getting all discombobulated. Blake couldn't make it tonight. I'm going to be on the Polar Express tomorrow, so not able. Yeah, going all the way to Maryland.
Holy crap, man! Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, good for me. I can't wait to drive that drive, but it will be a good time. It's going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to that. Kids' birthdays today. We got Christmas next week. It's just, it's a busy time, fun time. But yeah, for Browns fans, maybe not quite as fun, but we're going to do the best we can to bring it to you guys in somewhat entertaining fashion. We got to talk about the Bengals game coming up on Sunday. Originally, this was supposed to be a Thursday night game and got flexed back to Sunday at 1 because, well, I don't know if the NFL knew the Browns were going to be starting DTR, but I think now they made the right move. But before we dive into all of that stuff, we're going to talk about some quarterback drama, maybe a little Kirk Cousins discussion. We'll get into it all. Just want to remind everybody, check us out on all the socials at the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you give us a follow. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe to the channel. The subscribers have kind of tapered off a little bit. I don't know if it's just because the team's not very good right now or whatever, but please, if you're watching, you haven't subscribed, just do us a solid, tap the subscribe button. It really helps out the show. And if you're listening on audio, a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple gives us a big boost in the ratings, so we would really appreciate that as well. And last but not least, if you want more Dawgs Podcast content, especially heading into the offseason, who knows what all we're going to get into on the Patreon and in the Discord, but head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. It's a great way to it's just a great way to connect with other diehard Browns fans from all around the world, not just Ohio or the United States. I mean, we got people in there from everywhere. And it's also a great way to help support the show. It helps us out financially, and we're an independent podcast, so every little bit we can get helps us out a ton, and we really appreciate everybody who has been supporting us. We're wrapping up our 5th season now, and it's really the first one that's been like this, where it's just been horrible from the start, really no hope, dreary, just 3-14, and lucky it's 3, honestly. So
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. But hey, if you guys want to commiserate with us, with all the other Browns fans in there, therapy sessions are going on 24/7. It's jointhedawgs.com. So, guys, Bengals game, round 2, the first one in Cleveland. Browns went down 21-14 in a game that, honestly, looking back, as soon as the game was over, I felt like it had Jameis Winston played the entire game. I think maybe the Browns could have pulled that one out because Joe Burrow, and the Bengals offense, they're really good. They're high flying. They put up a lot of points. And I can go through some numbers here in a minute. They put up a lot of points here in recent weeks, but typically struggle against the Browns. The Browns defense, Kevin Stefanski, all that kind of stuff. But in the first game, it was Deshaun Watson for pretty much the first half, and then he ruptures his Achilles, and then DTR comes in. That was the morning that they made him the surprise backup quarterback out of nowhere, and Jameis was the emergency, and lo and behold, DTR had to come in. So we already got a taste of it because DTR got benched in that game, so Jameis could come in. And now here we are going back down to Cincinnati, Jameis getting benched so DTR can come in. What do you guys think about this?
Go ahead, Kenny.
I'm, I'm not too positive about it just based on, if you take a look, I think he's got a touchdown versus 7 interceptions.
That is correct.
And I don't see him have a great command of the offense. And that's just my initial reaction. Overall, I want to be happy and positive for this guy. He's a human being. He's 25 years old, I believe. And this is his second real start. And what I mean by that is he's actually getting a full week of practice. And that helps him with a number of things. He's going to know how to talk to the guys. He's going to know the nuances of the offense. And specifically what I mean is these procedure penalties. He's going to know a little bit better of where these guys got to go and where they got to be. So hopefully that neutralizes some of those situations. Maybe even some of the guys like Said Till, maybe they're a little more excited. Hopefully he can play, of course, that his guy from high school is going to be at the quarterback. And maybe he'll get a couple more balls his way. And there is the overall dimension that he has. I generally feel, and some people may disagree, that when he's on the field, he's one of the better athletes on the field.
Sure.
And you can see with Jameis Winston, while he's got a rocket arm, he cannot outrun anyone. So let's see where that athleticism takes us.
No, great point. That's all I was going to touch on as far as like what I can expect going into this game. You nailed it, man. The guy is very, very athletic. Definitely the most probably athletic quarterback that we have in the room. And I think the rushing is going to be, I guess, a nice factor because we don't really see that week to week with what we have right now. But I'm with you. The confidence as far as like what to expect this weekend, I'm very nervous. I almost feel like we're just kind of taking a step back. Like as far as I know it's bad right now and like it's, you know, where we have a 3-win team and, you know, everything's rough, but I feel like we're almost like taking a step backwards and we're setting ourselves even farther back as a team. I don't like what this does for as far as chemistry. I feel like a lot of guys like Jameis, and Jameis isn't the answer, obviously, guys, you know, like I don't think we can do another year of also that where it's just, you don't know what you're going to get week to week. But confidence wise, I'm not confident.
No,
I'll ask you guys a question then. If it wasn't Ken Dorsey as the offensive coordinator and Stefanski, would you feel a little bit better?
No,
I wouldn't
Go ahead,
either.
Josh.
I would not feel better. I do want to correct two things real quick. I misspoke. DTR was not benched for Jameis because he was the emergency quarterback. He got hurt, which goes to another thing. DTR gets hurt in every game he plays. If you hadn't noticed, he's always hurt. And Kenny, you said that it's going to be his second start, correct? It's actually his third start with a week of preparation because he prepped for the Pittsburgh game and then he prepped for Denver, the game that he got hurt and ended up missing the rest of the season or whatever. But so those two games. And this goes to what you're saying, Kenny. You know, would we feel more confident if it was Kevin instead of Ken, you know, their offense or whatever? And Justin and I both said no. With Kevin last year, now this was against the Steelers, I get it, but he was 24 of 43. So we had to throw the ball 43 freaking times, 55% completion, 165 yards. So 43 passes only netted 165 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. And then the following week before he got hurt against Denver, he was 14 of 29 for just 48% completion, 135. He did have his one and only career touchdown, no interceptions, but like I said, he got hurt. And then I know he's athletic, but really the rushing, he doesn't do a whole lot. If you look back, like the games he's played in, 24 yards, 20 yards, 21, 5-0, -5. This year, I don't have the stats pulled up right in front of me, but I don't feel like he runs a ton, and he's not as effective as we were hoping he would be when we drafted him. Is that fair to say?
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead.
I was going to say, taking a look at his PFF stats. I mean, he's only got a 58.4 for run for all of last year, and I thought he ran well, so that's telling. This year is 87.5, but it's probably off. That's probably based off 2 or 3 runs. But I don't know. Maybe with this week they capitalize on a little bit more of his athleticism, and he runs out of some of those sacks. But man, when you're telling me these stats, wow, he's not getting the ball down the field, and that's a scary thing for these receivers.
Bro, Kenny killed it. Dude, and that's the thing, like, I was going to bring up is, do you guys remember what that offense looked like under him? It was super conservative, super boring. There was I honestly, and I don't even think it's a hot take, do we have an air pass more than 20 yards in this game? Seriously.
I
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know what to expect, because if you go back to, I remember that Pittsburgh game just going, man, everything's at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage as far as throws. You know, there wasn't a lot. And if it was, It was over the middle and, not for a lot, 4 or 5 yards to a tight end, running backs, something along those lines. I think it's such a, it's almost a shame because you're seeing Jerry Jeudy progress. You're seeing, I loved what I saw out of Cedric Tillman until he got hurt. I never thought that he would be out this long. I mean, that was a nasty concussion. He's in the protocol still. I mean, he's practicing, but got to think he'd be back this week. But I don't know what this does for confidence. Obviously, Kenny touched on it. Chemistry wise, he's got chemistry with DTR as far as Tillman, but man, as far as fantasy, if I got Jerry Jeudy, probably not starting him this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is when we were watching him, it's going to be the same recipe with Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
Snap the ball, the pocket collapses. He doesn't look after his first read, bails out one way or the other, sack, ball on the ground, or dump off. And I know some of Dorsey's offense is predicated on dump off and the bigger receivers like Njoku are supposed to break a tackle and get yardage, but I mean, we're not seeing that.
No. And so I did get, Blake gave us a little input before the show tonight. He said the biggest thing that he's looking for is how do the Browns, and specifically Ken Dorsey, call the offense this week? Do they coach around DTR like they did last year? Do they run the ball a bunch? Do they take the ball out of his hands? Or do they call it like they have been with Watson and Winston? And if they do call a more conservative game for DTR, why didn't they just do that with Jameis to kind of limit his turnovers? So that was kind of what Blake was talking about there. And I posted some questions in my notes that I wanted to ask in here. How many first downs did the Browns get with DTR at quarterback? How do we convert any third downs? We're already the worst team this year and one of the worst all time in third down conversion rate. And that was with a quarterback coming in who could actually push the ball downfield and convert some third downs and pick up some first and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what we're going to get with DTR because this offense with Ken Dorsey has been so bad this year. Horrible. I just don't see how this helps anything.
It's complex. And I mean, even if you're in your second year, I mean, with the route trees that he's got to know versus Stefanski's, I just have a really bad feeling this is going to be another pick six fest,
Yeah, I think that it could be a multiple pick game. Go ahead, Justin.
No, if they call it aggressive and they let him sling it around, I'm even less confident. That's the thing is what should your expectations be heading into this game? That's very fair. As far as what Blake said with why didn't they call it conservative for Jameis, I just don't think that's Jameis's deal. I just don't think it's almost like a Flacco kind of situation. He's confident enough that he sees the throw. He thinks he's going to make the throw. Now that always isn't always the case. You know what I mean? But
I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking last week. There was the 2 interceptions that I'm thinking of are right in the double coverage.
Yeah.
There's guys open underneath, take what they give you. But at this point with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, everybody knows that he's going to throw. He's going to be Charlie check down, right? So that's where he's going to throw. So what do you do? Is it go over the top or I don't know, man. So hard to figure out what's going to happen,
Yeah, I think for everybody listening and watching, your expectations for the Browns offense and the quarterback play on Sunday, go back to what it was like watching the team when Deshaun Watson was starting. And that's what you're going to get with DTR, but probably a little worse, if you can imagine it. Just because, like Justin said, do we get any throws past 20 yards downfield? No, I guarantee none. Because we weren't getting any with Deshaun. They're going to be short little dump offs, but are they even the little dump offs probably won't be that accurate. There's going to be balls just sailing out of bounds like we saw with Deshaun. And then we started to see with Jameis here recently. I think it's going to be really freaking ugly. He's got 1 touchdown so far in all his appearances for the Browns over the last 2 years, but he has 7 interceptions. So it does not bode well for us scoring, to be honest.
I'll say this though, as far as the Browns as an organization, I'm pretty sure that they've made a decision on what they want to do with Jameis Winston. You know what I mean? I'll be very, very surprised if they go back to Jameis Winston in the last 3 games. If they do, then maybe there's a next year for Jameis in this room. I don't think so based on the benching. Now you get to see, do you have something in this kid? I know that we're critical, but is this a guy that's worth being a backup? Can he come in and spot us, a game if he has to? I think that's basically what we're going to see the next 3 games. And then you make decisions at the end of the year. Like we've already talked about it. I don't know how you roll this room in next year. Like this, if you take this same quarterback room and roll it into next year, I don't know how we can come out with, great expectations of what, a winning season should look like with that room.
Oh, yeah. I agree. 100%. I put that into my Browns backers form, and I said, the room's got to be cleared out. If I'm Deshaun Watson, okay, I'm clearing up what I need to clear up as far as injuries are concerned. And I'm thinking, what do I got to do to be off this team? I was booed. Nobody likes me. You know what I mean? And I know he's getting paid tons of money, and I know he wants to play, but he's got to be thinking in the back of his head, I don't want to be here anymore. What can I do? Like his agent's going to be like, you got to play, bro. We're taking this money because the agent doesn't want to lose money.
Hell no. Yeah.
But there's got to be some kind of consensus between management, him, and say, this isn't working out. What do we got to do? Because we owe you a ton. You want to play. It ain't working out here. So what do we do? I know Bernie took a pay cut for Art Modell back in the day. And this is a funny story. Art Modell told me he was going to get him a receiver. You know who he signed? Signed Vinny Testaverde.
Not a receiver.
He got screwed, and that's in his book. So go read that one. It's good. Yeah. But that being said, there's got to be some kind of minimization. Anyways, I'm not a cap expert, and I'm not Deshaun Watson. Right. So, but I know he still wants to play. He's got to want to play. He's still young enough as a quarterback.
This episode is brought to you by Baden Sports. Browns fans, it's Christmas time, and I don't know about you guys, but I am horrible at gift giving, and I never know what the heck to buy for people, and it honestly makes my holiday season just a little more stressful. But this year, Baden Sports is making my holiday shopping much easier. Head over to badensports.com/dogs and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your entire holiday order. Baden has awesome sports gear for the athletes in your life, basketballs, footballs, baseball, and softball equipment. Not to mention if you or anyone in your life plays pickleball or you're interested in learning how to play, Baden has all the pickleball gear you need. And they also have tons of fun backyard games like badminton sets, volleyball sets, bocce, croquet, horseshoes. They even have Viking chess, which I'm a little afraid to admit, but I don't even know what that is. So someone in the comments, let me know what Viking chess is. But it still looks like fun. And don't forget the Custom Dogs Podcast Perfection Team Issue Leather Football with our logos on it. You can find those at thedogspodcast.com/football. But for all the other awesome Baden Sports gear, get over to badensports.com/dogs. That's BADEN sports.com/dogs to get 10% off your entire Christmas order. Take advantage of this deal and be the champion of your holiday shopping with Baden Sports.
Let me ask you guys this then. Doesn't it, and maybe it's a good thing that we don't know, but doesn't it make you very nervous that we don't even know the direction that we're going? Our organization really doesn't even know the direction that we're headed. And we're 3 weeks away from this being done. And I don't think the people at the top know what they're going to do. I really don't. I'm not sure that, because you hear different stuff. You hear, oh, well, Watson, when he's healthy next year, just say, I keep hearing like the November, coming back, he'll be able to, play again. But it's like you hear, Mary Kay Cabot saying, he's going to be able to compete in this, quarterback room. And, you hear other guys like Blake's brought up, Zagura and stuff, is saying there's no way that that's going to happen. So it's crazy that you have two really, really close sources to the Browns, both saying completely opposite things. I guess is my question. I kind of went off, on a tangent there, but doesn't that make you nervous that we have no direction as an organization right now?
Oh, for sure, dude. Like
in the most critical position.
Well, in the most critical position, but even just as a team overall, it sucks because since we've been doing this, obviously we've been Browns fans our whole lives, but since we've been doing the podcast, we've had Kevin Stefanski, and there has been an identity to the team. Now for the first couple of years, the defense was terrible under Joe Woods, but the offensive identity was power run, Nick Chubb, then we get Kareem Hunt, and it's like, this looks nice. And we were, that was our identity. We could have quarterback play that wasn't maybe the best, whether it was Baker or Jacoby or Joe or whatever, but it was competent enough to work and function behind that run game. And now it's like, we've got nothing. And we can talk about the defense too here in a little bit. We'll get to it, but I mean, the defense is still playing okay. They're not great. They're not terrible. I'd say they're middle of the road. But as far as
sold out, that's why.
Yeah, they got sold out in Kansas
offense,
City.
Man.
Yeah,
you can
for
only
sure.
play so much. I played defense. If my offense stunk, well, I played defense, and I'm busting my ass for like double the plays that they're playing. I'm gonna be damn tired. The other point that I want to get across is when I used to play, or even in sales, like when I was a sales manager, and you sucked, and you were either paying you a lot of money, or you think you're good. I'm going to the general manager, or I'm going to my district manager and saying, hey, Jimmy, he's bringing the team down. He's still on the team. I'm writing his ass up. And when are we getting rid of him? Because he's killing me right now. You know what I mean? And as I know we're paying him a ton of money, but the rest of the team's got to be thinking that. If I'm Miles, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there. I'm just going to say the right stuff. I'm not going to throw my guy under the bus, just like I wouldn't throw my sales guy under the bus with my front desk staff, right? However, I'm going up to Jimmy and saying, bro, this guy's killing us. Like, what can we do? This isn't working out, and I'm getting another year older. So that's got to be going on at some point. It's not just all happy smiles and go, yeah, hey, you know what?
Dude, it did happen.
Big dog,
I guarantee that's what was going on with Amari.
Or what about, you got to think that's even going on with Kevin.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to think that those are the conversations that Kevin is having with Andrew Berry, and, has them like, I know you guys are confident in what I'm doing. Obviously that's what you're saying to, you're saying to me, and you're saying it out into the media, but I don't know, especially with how long it went on. Like, I don't know how this team stayed kind of on the rails. And, I'm not shocked at all that where we're at right now. But the fact that, as Browns fans, we're sitting there at 3-8, and we're like, or, 2-8 or whatever. And we're like, hey, maybe we can still turn this thing around, but, typical Cleveland, fan stuff. But, for the most part, I thought Kevin kept it on the rails for about as long as he could based on what we were rolling out there.
Well, and
part of that's his, part of that's on him, I guess.
And how deflated Kevin has seemed all season, like just the life and the energy that we felt from Kevin in years past, hasn't been there this year. Just you can tell from the beginning, like his hands are tied. He knows he's got no option here, no choice. Got to keep rolling with this guy. Got to keep playing this offense. Like, I know this isn't going to work, but I got to do it anyway. I've been in those kind of jobs too, where like people are manager asking me to do something. I'm like, I know this isn't going to work, but whatever. I guess we'll just do it. I have a better way to do it, but you don't want to hear it. So whatever. Yeah, it sucks. And what you were asking there, Justin, a few minutes ago, it does scare me as a Browns fan that we've got all this money and this, capital invested in Deshaun Watson to the point that like he has to be on the roster next year for us to be able to field a team. So we cannot take on his dead cap. So just that has to happen. And then you're right. The reports of like, well, they're going to, give him a chance to compete for the job. It's like, why?
What's going on?
Why are we even saying that? And then you're seeing people posting pictures online. They're canceling their season tickets and stuff just because of that report. And when do the Browns not get the message that you got to do something else? And you're right. Like Jameis, he's done in Cleveland. He's not going to play another snap here because if they even thought that they were going to bring him back next year, or there was potential to have him on as a backup or something, they would let him continue to play.
Yeah. Wrote it out.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a tough thing to deal with. I mean, ultimately, like I oversee a lot of the chapters for the Browns Backers Worldwide, which is the nonprofit for the Browns. And there's a ton of people that are saying already at the beginning of the year that they were not renewing. There's a ton of people that don't want to come out to certain chapters just based on the poor level of play. At the end of the day, like we want to promote, positivity for the team and the players, but there's this divide where you can't do it because the product's been so poor, right? Ultimately, we are the cement when the team's in quicksand. However, the cement's breaking. You know what I mean? Like guys are just not satisfied. And we have this big, immaculate dome that's going to be built. And where's the money coming from if nobody goes to the games? Because as much as we're not as disappointed like the 0-16 team, there was still not a lot of people that went. to those games, especially the end of the year. And I can't imagine they're going to be making a lot of money in the next 3 games, you know?
No, I can't either. I don't know. I mean, if you guys are out there, you're watching, listening to this, if you're able to comment on the video, or like you can leave comments in Spotify now, which is pretty cool. I'd love to hear what everybody thinks, because I've got a question for you, just Browns fans in general. Just drop it in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. This is the angriest I've ever seen the fan base at the team. Really, any fan base at any team. I mean, like, the fans are mad about this whole situation. If the Browns, if Jimmy Haslam and ownership management just came out and put out a statement that said, I don't know, I don't even know how it would be worded, but like, essentially, we messed up. We made a mistake.
Yeah.
Whatever the situation may be, if they just somehow, or you didn't even have to make a statement, but just no more of this QB competition stuff. Just like allude to the fact that we are moving on. We're looking at all our options. We're looking at the draft. We're looking at free agency. We're looking at trades. Don't even mention, you don't have to come out and say you screwed up, but stop talking about Deshaun Watson. Would that, smooth it over with fans? Like, as fans, would you guys feel better if they would just move on? They don't even have to say they're moving on, but just do it. Just move on and let us go with you.
Yeah, I mean, they won't say anything while he's there and under contract, but I mean, ultimately, saying we're going to get the position right just answers everything, and they have to have some kind of confident statement that comes out.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Justin? I mean,
I feel like I've kind of let my opinion be known on, like, just, you know, as far as like our situation we're in right now, we're, as a Browns fans, probably one of the worst. At least, you know, a few years ago, there was like hope, like, hey, you know, maybe we can kind of figure this out. I feel like, and we've talked about it, I'm not a salary cap expert. I don't understand how all this stuff kind of falls in place. Like, obviously, we know the numbers and we report what they're telling us as far as what the cap is and how far over or under we are. But I just don't know, like, how we're successful, obviously, the rest of this year, but even into next year. I'm looking and I'm like, we can't go get a free agent quarterback, at least one that's probably worth a damn. Like, when people are like, well, let's bring Marcus Mariota in, I'm like, for real, that's where we're at. We're talking about Marcus Mariota is going to be the guy that's going to bridge a rookie. And maybe he's a great locker room guy. Maybe he's a great guy to have in the quarterback room. I don't know. But for me, I'm like, that's not it either. Unless we're trying to be shitty and get a better draft pick, unless we're trying to go back-to-back couple years and load up on some talent finally and get better. But then just do that. Put shit guys out there everywhere. Don't just kind of, hey, we have a great roster on this side of the ball and then we stink over here, but we're paying a ton of money, you know. And it's not even that we stink. It's just tough. It's, you know, you've got poor quarterback play. The line looks older than we've ever seen it. And they look old. They look old. They look slow. They look like they're overwhelmed all the time. They can't win the line of scrimmage. I like the receiver room, you know, I think we got something there. And then, like, as far as running back, tons of questions. What happens with Nick Chubb? What do we obviously, I think as fans, we're going to go give that guy a chance. If he wants to be here, let's get him on board. He's, you know, one of the best leaders that this team has had since they've came back. But man, it's just so overwhelming, you know, as far as,
well, and it's compounded by the fact that Baker's doing well. It's compounded by the fact that even Jacoby in his limited stints did well. I mean, the Kareem thing really was a knife in the back for a lot of people. You know what I mean? The biggest thing, you know, other than everything that we're talking about, I think everybody across the league, and maybe you can even think about who it is, probably for the Bengals. We never really replaced Landry, and we never replaced Kareem Hunt, and they were kind of the heart and soul of the team. And if you had to hazard a guess right now, like, who's going to be that fiery locker room guy, it was Jameis Winston, but he's just not leading by example right now because it's tough with all these picks that he's doing. And it's kind of bringing the team down a bit. And, you know, you compound that with, it seems like every single field goal kicker that we've ever had is hitting field goals. And then we finally have a guy that, you know, did it last year. And now we can't even hit something that's like 40 yards. It's really tough. And to compound that, we finally get a guy that's healthy, or mentally or physically, in Riley Patterson, and I can't even stroll him out on the field because we had 6 freaking turnovers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's really tough, man.
I mean,
and he got signed today. He got picked up by Atlanta. He is in Atlanta now as their kicker. Atlanta's kicker's on IR now, so. Word is Dustin.
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah. Dustin Hopkins is healthy and playing week 16. And I know he's got a lot of stuff going on outside of football, and that's an unfortunate part of life and stuff like that. And obviously wish him the best on that, but he's got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because he's another guy that we're handcuffed to for multiple years now, and because of the salary cap and dead cap money.
I know you mentioned names like Baker, Jacoby, Kareem Hunt, these other guys that used to play for the Browns, they go somewhere else, they play better. That happens a lot. I mean, Jerry Jeudy was with Denver, and now he's coming here and he's playing better. Just because a guy's playing better doesn't mean that he was going to do that here. Baker would have never done what he's doing in Tampa Bay. Never would have done that here. It took him. We've talked about this. It took Baker being cut by 3 different teams in a calendar year, signed on at like a vet minimum to compete with Kyle Trask to get his stuff together to really mature into the quarterback he is right now. And even now he still shows some games. It's like, ooh, there's some of that old Baker that, we kind of criticize. So we just got to, as fans out there, let the guys go.
It's the biggest argument that you can get in. Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing with him, Hard Knocks. What did Hugh Jackson? Hugh Jackson is an awful football coach. What did he tell him in Hard Knocks? You don't come here early enough. You don't put the work in, right? Yeah. That showed through his entire career here. That guy got so fat and out of shape. His wife had to buy him a Peloton.
You're right.
On his off season, and it sounded like she forced him, get your ass to work, right? Then he finally gets into shape, tries to tackle somebody, blows his
on a pick
shoulder out on a pick, and then holds the team hostage by playing quarterback all year, And it's just like people seem to forget that. And then he was traded away because even he says, he's like, nah, he didn't really say I didn't take it serious, but I could have done better in Cleveland. He said, I think what he means by that is, he said that in one of his interviews about 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. He said, and I'm paraphrasing it. I'll be honest with you, I'd have to watch it again. But he said, like, I could have done better.
He said, I was an asshole there, or kind of an asshole there. Yeah, that's what he said. I mean, he admitted
said it. I thought you said like in astonishment. Oh my God, he said that.
No,
that's what I thought. That's what I was explaining myself.
Browns fans, if you're like me, you put off all your Christmas shopping till the last minute because you don't really know what to get everybody anyway. But I like to get a lot of the people in my family, my loved ones, the gift packages from Omaha Steaks. These things are the perfect gift, and it lasts the end of the year because they're not going to use all the food right away. So whenever they break out the steaks in January, February, March out of their freezer, they remember, hey, you got that for them for Christmas. And I know it's a great gift because I've had a ton of Omaha Steaks and all their food myself. The taste, phenomenal. It's like the best meat you can get. And Omaha Steaks makes everything this Christmas very easy. They've got their expertly crafted gift packages ready for Christmas. So give the gift of comfort and joy with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide on unforgettable gifts and more. And for an extra $30 off, use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS at checkout. Minimum purchase may apply. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and get an extra $30 off with promo code DAWGS at checkout. And another thing with this whole, the quarterback play and stuff, and I don't know, I might take some heat for this. Maybe you guys disagree, but, Deshaun Watson played horrible this year. Jameis had some moments, but overall, not great. DTR has already looked real bad this year. And I would argue that all 3 of those guys would not have looked that bad as they did this year if it was Kevin's offense instead of Dorsey's. Because we talk all the time about how the big difference for anybody who's new or hasn't heard this before, the big difference between Kevin Stefanski and Ken Dorsey. Kevin Stefanski's offense puts the quarterback in a position where he doesn't have to be perfect. It kind of hides flaws and deficiencies of your quarterback to basically enhance what he does well, minimize what he does bad, and let the team around him kind of make the plays and whatever. Ken Dorsey's offense puts the quarterback front and center, puts the offense on his shoulders, says, you need to make the reads, you need to make the throws, and it's on you. You make the plays. And boy, we do not have a quarterback that is even close to doing anything like that.
And it's all got to be out of shotgun also.
Oh, everything.
All of it.
Dude, Josh Allen struggled with it.
Yes.
He struggled with the offense.
Yes.
And he might be the MVP this year. You know?
Justin, I don't know if you remember, if you guys are watching this, go back. We did an interview with Ted Ginn Jr. up at the Hall of Fame over the summer. And we asked him, because he played under Ken Dorsey. Well, Ken Dorsey was quarterback coach or something down there. I forget, in Carolina.
Yeah.
And so we said, well, what can we expect out of Ken Dorsey? What are we getting with him? And I felt now looking back on it now, and I did feel kind of like it at the time, but we were all thinking, okay, positive thoughts about the Browns for the season. And he was just kind of like, yeah. He said some nice things about
what he
Ken.
Said? You said, what should we expect? And he said, nothing.
Yeah, he did.
And we were like, I honestly, we weren't even drinking or anything. And I remember just being like, oh my God, I don't know where to go from here on this.
Ted's like,
this is interesting.
He's a funny guy. Like, he says some things sometimes that's a little off the wall. And then whenever you go back and look at it, you're like, oh, I see what he meant. And that was one of those times where I was like, what's this guy? What? What do you mean nothing? Okay, expect nothing.
Expect nothing.
Oh man. Well, I think we've kind of beat the DTR Jameis quarterback debacle to death. We got some more quarterback talk to do here in a little bit. I just want to touch on defensive side of the ball for this Bengals game. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, this Bengals offense is crazy. Their defense isn't that great, but that does not give me any more optimism about DTR or the Browns offense, because we scored 14 points against them the first time, and that was with Jameis doing one of the touchdowns. So I do not expect DTR to generate many points. I don't know.
So here's the thing: is I don't think the Bengals have scored less than 20 since week 8 against Philly.
Let me pull that up.
20 is like our magic number. Like 20 is like, can we get to 20 if we're lucky?
Yeah. So they've gone since that week. They scored 17 against the Eagles. Then they've gone 41. Right. 34 against the Ravens. Then they put up 27 against the Chargers, 38 against the Steelers, 27 on the Cowboys, and just last week, 37 against the Titans. And the Titans are a good defense. So I think we're getting smoked.
Yeah. It's very, I mean, not to be negative, but I don't know how you go out, like you come out of those stats and knowing what Cincinnati can do, because if you watch them, they are on fire. Things are clicking. Things are absolutely clicking for them. Their defense, like you said, little suspect. Trey Hendrickson's still a dog. They did lose Sam Hubbard, but it's not because of the offense. The reason they're losing games is not because of the offense. You ask Cincinnati fans, they go, our defense sucks, our head coach sucks. I don't know enough about, Taylor to say, hey, the dude for sure sucks. The offense looks good.
I mean, if we have a shot to win this, it's basically like how we won there. I think it was 3 years ago with Jacoby. We have a 60-yard touchdown, but not by Donovan Peoples-Jones, probably by Sed Till. Jerome Ford takes a 70-yarder to the house, and then a pick six. That was 80, 90 yards by Denzel Ward. Yeah. And we somehow pull it out, because they didn't take it serious or whatever. But I think they're pretty serious. Those are pretty big splash plays, and to get 3 in a game again is going to be tough. But that being said, like Blake said last week, let's see how much heart they got. The job interview didn't go well last week. Nobody got hired.
Yeah, I was going to say, we figured out some things. I think we figured out some things as far as, Jameis.
Chiefs is a big game, and a lot of people watch, and if they feel embarrassed, then they might be backed in the corner and come out. So hopefully that's the thing. And Miles gets 3 sacks like he did, gets them in bunches, and he's due. So let's do it, boys.
So my big fear kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier, Kenny, about, being sold out by the other side of the ball. I do expect the Browns defense to come out, and they've been doing this every week. They come out, and the first quarter, so they did this again in Pittsburgh. They did it last week against the Chiefs. They come out and they're stifling and they're forcing 3 and outs and they're doing great things. And then immediately our offense or special teams gives the ball right back to the other team. And I just don't know how much longer our defense can do that. How can you just continue to every time go out there and stop the offense? These Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson's playing well. And now, you're asking us to go out there and stop Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and these guys. And then we get the ball back for the offense, one play, and it's right back on the field. I just don't see how much longer this can last. So I worry about that. I worry about the Bengals get up, say they get up 10-0. How are we getting 10 points?
They still have stuff to fight for too.
Yes, they're trying to make the playoffs.
They're still right in the mix.
If they win out,
pretty much
they're not eliminated.
If they win out, they could be 9-8 and still be. They need things to happen, but it's still on the table for them.
We don't have those things. We don't have things that we need to happen. We know what it's looking like.
And I'm afraid that, defensively, they already know. They know, hey, DTR starting. We see him in practice. They know it's a lost cause, I'm sure. I'm looking now today, Martin Emerson didn't practice. He's got a concussion. If he's got a concussion, he's probably not going to play. These guys miss at least 1 week typically with these concussions. David Njoku still out with the hamstring. So
that's a big piece.
This could be a game where Jordan Akins, this goes back to Kenny's preseason gripe against the Browns. The tight ends are the only ones getting targeted, and it's because they're the ones within 5 yards of the line. So it could be a Jordan Akins leads the team with, 23 yards or something stupid like that.
Nine receptions for 55 yards.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. I don't want to be too down, and I know I feel bad for people listening that I don't know what you guys want us to do. I can't hype you up for the game.
Yeah.
When I just got to be honest, the expectations are, I just hope we score some points.
I don't like talking about the Browns like this. It honestly, it feels like gut wrenching. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things that, and we take a lot of heat as Browns fans, but it's like one of those things that I've always loved. It's always been there. And I think that's why you still see a lot of Browns fans sticking, we're talking about since 99, 3 winning seasons, that's the kind of stuff that most fans would be like, yeah, I'm cool. Buffalo looks sweet. Josh Allen's good.
Yeah, I like Josh Allen.
You know what I mean? But, we're a different breed. We don't, we just keep saying, hey, and always next year, and let's run this thing back and improve some stuff. And, does it get frustrating? Sure. And trust me, I would love for them to one day win a Super Bowl so I can, cry to my children about it. But man, I feel like right where we're at right now, we're a lot farther away than we are close.
Yeah, to be positive, I'll put a positive spin on it. Hopefully they watch some UCLA tape. He had great games there, and they can apply that. I'm sure Cincinnati's going to do the same thing. So, sure. Let's go DTR. Let's go.
Yeah. Like Justin just said, we're definitely a lot further away than we are close this year. But to put one last bit of optimism on things just outside of this season, I still think, and this is a big if, but if this team can just get a few things right in the offseason, I don't think we're that far away. The defense is still a unit that you can hang your hat on. If you've got a good enough offense, you got to be able to put up points. You can't go out there and be averaging 16 freaking points a game for the season. That's pathetic. You got to be somewhere in the 20s. You got to be capable of putting up a 30 or 35, maybe even a 40 burger any week. You just got to have that potential. If they get the quarterback position figured out, get a run game back in here. Basically, it all just get rid of Ken Dorsey, for God's sake. Get rid of this offensive staff. It's just ass trash. I'm so tired of watching it. It's unwatchable football. If they make some of the right decisions, get the right coaches in here, get the right players on the line, which, like Blake said, really it's just one position. It's left tackle. Everybody else is under contract. But put them in a scheme that utilizes their strengths. This Ken Dorsey put your lineman on an island thing to pass block or run block out a shotgun. Obviously, they can't do it. So what are we doing? Use them the way they should be used. And I think if they do it the right way, we could be competitive already next year. But it is a big if. One of those ifs, I guess we'll transition then to the final thing we want to talk about is the quarterback, like I just mentioned. And Kirk Cousins down in Atlanta just got benched. They are going to move on from him. They're going to start their rookie that they took, 8th overall, I think, this year, Michael Penix Jr. And, Kirk Cousins signed that humongous, how many year contract was it down there?
4 year, what, 100 and, was it 80?
180, I
think. It was
think.
90 million guaranteed, I thought.
Big numbers for a guy contract, coming off an Achilles tear and everything. And then, they drafted the rookie and they got a lot of criticism for it at the time. But now it looks like, well, hey, we didn't know what we were going to get out of Kirk. But then why'd you pay him so much? But, whatever. Hey, teams do stupid things at the quarterback position, don't they, Cleveland?
Yeah, 100%.
So, okay, so this sparks a lot of speculation I've seen all over social media. We talked to Jack Duffin from the OBR over the summer before the season even started, and one of the scenarios he laid out was, if Deshaun Watson doesn't play well or Deshaun Watson gets hurt, which it was kind of an either or. We didn't realize it would be both. He was going to suck and get hurt. But, he was talking about how the cap situation really isn't that bad with his contract. We can still have him on the roster and still have the type of money to pay. And his example, the guy he wanted was Kirk Cousins, because he kind of saw the future. He said, they're not going to stick with him. They're going to go to Penix at some point, probably sooner than later. Cousins will become available, and he could be a good bridge quarterback for the Browns. So what do you guys think? I've seen so much speculation now that's probably what's going to end up happening. One way or another, he's going to make his way to Cleveland with Kevin. What do you guys think? Justin, would you be happy to see Cousins here next year?
I would feel optimistic about Cousins. I know obviously this year he hasn't looked great. He's had moments. He's been up and down, but it's very confusing what's going on down there because they have weapons everywhere. They have athletic Kyle Pitts. He's just another letdown as far as just what he does. But like Drake London is a star. He's a certified stud at the wide receiver position. You have a running back who might be a generational running back, just based on what you're seeing as far as progression. Getting to Kirk, though, so I might be completely wrong here. He has a no trade clause. So he would have to agree. Basically, I guess he would either have to agree to a trade if they would trade him, or if they cut him, then he goes to free agency, basically, and goes through that process. Call me crazy, but if you're Kirk Cousins and a guy who, if you look at him as far as what his contracts and stuff are and how he decides what he's going to do, he's very, very decisive. I don't know how in the world you convince him, hey, we're really, really kind of a dumpster fire right now. Come be a part of this. Come on. You know what I mean? And honestly,
we're not a dome either, right? So
right. Not yet. And the crazy thing though, is it could be a situation with like maybe a Russell Wilson, you know what I mean? Like, cause they're going to probably take a lot of the salary in this deal. And I don't know the numbers. I'm just kind of guessing how this would play out. Cause they have him under contract. So I guess he would do almost a team-friendly deal like a Russell Wilson did, like who am I missing? There's another guy that took like a very team-friendly deal to come play. Basically, the other team was paying his salary. I just can't think of who it is. Go ahead. I'll let you guys go, though. Well, I don't see how you convince him to come.
I was just going to say real quick, if you guys are listening, go follow Jack Duffin on X. Great follow if you want to have a more knowledgeable insight about cap situations and stuff with the team. He does that. He analyzes the cap situation with the Browns very well, and he's posting about it all the time, writing articles and stuff. So I know that there's a lot of people out there that just immediately go to, well, we can't afford to pay anybody. And it's like, yes, we can. And if you follow Jack and talk to Jack and read his stuff, you would understand that. And one thing that he was talking about was, and honestly, this is what I would almost expect. Like you were saying, Justin, he's so decisive, and hey, he doesn't want to get screwed over here, in this whole situation. I mean, I signed a contract, you gave it to me. Like, we're going to get this to the end here. And he posted on X, Jack said that Kirk Cousins could do something similar to what Derek Carr did in Las Vegas. He told the Raiders that he would not approve a trade because he had a no trade clause. So he forced them to cut him, and they had to pay him what he was owed. So he could do that with the Falcons, say, I'm on your team. Like, you're not going to trade me. The only way you're getting me off the team is to cut me. So then he gets the money he's owed. He becomes a free agent. He can sign wherever he wants. And I believe, if I understood Jack's post correctly, he would carry a cap hit to that team of just $1.25 million for 2025. So similar to Russell Wilson, where, yes, that other team is paying the contract for the year. We could throw on whatever extra we want to, but he's already got his money for the year. It's just not being paid by us. This episode is brought to you by Manly Bands. Browns fans, and actually in particular, you Lady Browns fans out there, do you ever struggle to figure out what to get your man for Christmas? I know my wife, she's always asking me, what do you want for Christmas? And I have to tell her every single time, I don't really know. I don't really need anything. And I feel bad, but it's just kind of the way it is the truth. You can get your man an awesome new wedding band from manlybands.com. They've got some of the coolest bands on here. And even if you don't get anything, you should at least go to the website and check it out and see what they have. They've got bands featuring things like Lord of the Rings, Jack Daniel's Whiskey Barrel bands. They've got DC Comics, Jeep. They've got your traditional gold and white gold plated bands. They've got platinum. They've got titanium, tantalum, tungsten. They even have bands made out of meteorite and dinosaur bone, of all things. And every Manly band comes shipped with a free silicone band included, so that whenever your man is working out or hunting or swimming or working on the truck in the garage, whatever he's doing, he can take off the nice band that you got him, keep it safe, and put on that silicone band and keep on powering through. Right now, they've got 30% off all rings on their website, but this is for a limited time only. So if you want to get in there now. Take advantage of this opportunity, this sale for Christmas. That's manlybands.com/dogs. Use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, to get an extra 25% off your order. So not only are you getting 30% off from the website with this sale, you get an extra 25% off with our code DAWGS. It is a great opportunity. Get your man an awesome wedding band from Manly Bands for Christmas this year. That's manlybands.com/dogs. 30% off all rings on their website. Limited time only. 25% extra off your order with promo code DAWGS when you check out. That's manlybands.com/dogs. Promo code DAWGS.
So does the Browns flip that with Deshaun and then they just sign each other? You know what I mean? Like, I'm making a joke, but yeah, I mean, I could see him here. The one thing is, I just quick mentioned, I just don't know about him not playing in the Dome at this point in his career. That might be something he would consider like a more southern location. I'd probably want to go for someone athletic to develop, maybe like Fields. But I haven't really looked much into the situation. Part of the thing I like about Fields is that I think he feels that he did really well. He doesn't understand as a starter that he was 4-2 or 4-1. I can't remember. But that's going to stick in his craw. And man, if he could play the Steelers every year and be in this division, you know, he'd probably be ready to get after them all the time. And those are guys that I'm kind of looking for that want to get after the guys in our division.
Yeah, I would be on board with Justin Fields. He would be probably toward the top of my wish list for the offseason. Sure. Kirk Cousins, Justin, we've talked about these injuries. We do that fantasy podcast and stuff. These lower body injuries, the ankles, the knees, the foot, the Achilles, these kinds of things. The first year back, rough. Usually very rough for these players. And the second year back is when you start to see their old explosiveness, the way they used to play, all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of people that want to say Kirk Cousins is washed, his arm is shot. And excuse me, I haven't watched enough Falcons games to really evaluate it. Right. But how much of it is his arm is shot, or is he just not able to plant and put the pressure, the weight on his, on his lower body that he normally would, because of he's still coming back from that Achilles, that he's not getting the velocity on the ball that he used to. I don't know. I just know that whenever he played in 2019 with Kevin Stefanski as the offensive coordinator in Minnesota, in 15 games, he had 3,600 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. This year, he's got a 66.9 completion percentage, which is nice, 3,580 yards, 18 touchdowns, but he has 16 picks. So really, I mean, Kirk Cousins has not played. People want to say, oh, he's been terrible this year. He really hasn't been terrible. He just hasn't been vintage Kirk, and the interceptions have been really high. Other than that,
what I've caught from Atlanta and games, and I specifically remember the Saints game, is he was moving Atlanta up and down the field. They stagnated in the red zone, and their kicker missed a ton of kicks. Yeah, and he did get sacked. They gave up more sacks than the Saints did. That's for sure. The Saints got after them. So maybe it's a line issue with them. But again, I'm like you. I don't watch the Falcons that often.
Yeah. I mean, if he's the type of quarterback that As long as it is more of the Achilles injury than him just not being able to play quarterback anymore, which, what is he, 36 or something? It's not like super
I thought he was older than that.
37,
38, but I could be completely wrong.
Maybe he is. I don't have that off. Yeah, look it up real quick.
He's in his late 30s.
Yes, and we're not talking about franchise quarterback here, guys. We're talking about a 1-year stopgap bridge type of quarterback to come in here. I just feel like if we were able to get back to Kevin Stefanski's offense, the one that Joe Flacco was running so well, I think Kirk Cousins can do that. Kirk Cousins can run play action pass and get you downfield. I think that if we get back to the right offense, Kirk Cousins and Ken Dorsey's offense, forget it. Absolutely forget it. It would be atrocious. So
take Cousins, put Genty in the backfield, get a left tackle. Let's go. AFC North.
And there you go. Right there's what I'm talking about. Maybe the change isn't that far off. We just need to get the right pieces and the right coaching and scheme and everything to fix this.
Yep. Yeah, Kirk Cousins is 36. Sorry,
36.
Guys.
Okay. Yeah. So he's Russell Wilson, right? Isn't Russell Wilson 36, 35?
Well, I don't know.
Now I'm asking you to look something up. Either way, you know what I'm saying.
What am I, the age of the quarterbacks guy on this show? What the hell, bro?
Come on, I thought you knew this stuff. Snap. If you guys are watching here, drop it in the comments. Let us know what you think. Kirk Cousins, yay. Kirk Cousins, nay. Do you guys think that he's washed? Do you think it's just year one back from the Achilles? The thing is, like even Aaron Rodgers, and he tore his Achilles a lot earlier in the season last year than Cousins did. Rodgers looked rough for most of this year, but here recently, these last few games, 3 games or so, you're starting to see more vintage Rodgers. He's making the throws like he used to. And it's just like, okay, is it taking them that long to really be able to plant on that Achilles and do the things that they used to do? I think yes, because we've seen other players, running backs, Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, some of these guys with the broken ankles and stuff. It just takes them a year. It just does. And maybe that's all this is with Kirk.
Sure, guys. If I roll out of the bed the wrong way, I'm out for a couple weeks. So
I sit down on carpet too long. I can't get back up. Don't worry about it, man. You're good. I got bad knees, bad back. Josh, Russell Wilson's 36. All right, quit asking questions you already know the answers to.
I feel like I know the answer and then I second guess, and So. They are both 36 years old. But hey, for like if this situation were the one that played out, the one that Jack was posting about, and it's like a $1.2 million situation, yeah, you throw whatever you need to on top to say, hey, come up here and play with Kevin again. Come on, you guys were rocking in Minnesota. Come on, we're closer to Minnesota. You moved your family to Atlanta. You liked it up here in the north. Come on, get back up here.
Yeah,
100%, man. He played for Michigan State.
Then he checks our credit score and he's like, "Oh, damn, I can't do this. No, this is not a safe bet for me. This is not it." But I won't be negative. I would love to see Kirk Cousins on the Browns. I think that be obviously if he's not who he is, that we're talking still about the same situation that we're already in. But if there is something still there, and you get him at a crazy low deal like that, like 1.2 million or something. Oh my. Yeah. Then, maybe the salary cap situation and the situation overall isn't as bad as we think.
No. And just to kind of wrap up this conversation with, again, more optimism for next year, hopefully. It's not like we're talking about bringing a guy like Kirk Cousins in here to stop gap a 1-in 15 team that's got just devoid of talent across the board. We've still got Myles Garrett. You've still got a stud cornerback, elite cornerback, Denzel Ward. You've still got JOK. You got Grant Delpit. You've got these phenomenal pieces. You still have, Jack Conklin's still an all-pro right tackle. You've got Wyatt Teller's looking at getting an extension. If you get these guys in the right scheme, they can be very good. You get a good young running back in here. Bring back Nick Chubb in a complimentary role, a healthy Nick Chubb. You've got Judy. You got Tillman. You got Njoku. Maybe you draft a guy in the second or third round with some upside. You sign a guy in free agency. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, just don't turn the freaking ball over.
Maybe we don't stink.
Yeah, maybe we don't stink. That's the NFL, man. These things just change so fast year to year. It's the not for long league, and the Browns' success from last year was not for long at all.
Yeah, it's tough, man, when you run it through with 5 quarterbacks the previous year.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody, including probably the players, like the last quarterback, and then you change everything, and nothing caught at all.
No.
It's almost like we thought we were bulletproof, like heading into this season. Maybe at least I do as a fan. I'm like, oh, I just watched us go through unimaginable lows, and we came out with a playoff game and a winning record and looked like a complimentary football in all phases. And then, it's maybe we're a little like snake bit and we overlooked some things.
And it's funny to think about last year because things went our way because what did we do last year? We turned the ball over more than any other team in the NFL. We committed more penalties, I think, than any other team in the NFL. It just happened to go our way. We were forcing turnovers on defense. This year, what are we doing? Turning the ball over more than anybody, committing more penalties than anybody, and we're not forcing turnovers. And now things aren't going our way, and we're not scoring points.
Really not moving the ball. I mean, it just depends on week to week, the product that you get. I don't even know what the product is because one week I'm like, holy hell, our quarterback just almost threw for 500 yards against one of the best defenses in the league. And then the next week it's like rookie quarterback, like just not sure what's going on out there. It's crazy. It's crazy. Then that's another thing. I'm just like, man, do stuff that these guys are comfortable with. If you go and talk to that guy on Monday and say, hey, what plays do you like and you like running and you think give us the best opportunity, and then you collab, and you got to think that stuff's going on, but it sure as hell doesn't look like it.
Ken Dorsey is Freddie Kitchens. He's just coming in here and nobody knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? It's the same
Paul
thing.
DePodesta.
Yeah, we got to get rid of Depot. Please, please, please. Why do we have a baseball guy in San Diego running football operations in freaking Cleveland?
Nobody knows.
He's not in the building.
Nobody
How
knows.
does he know what's going on with this team? That pisses me off. The Paul DePodesta stuff gets me fired up. I want him gone. I want him out of here.
It's
Same with Dorsey.
exactly why a lot of his picks don't work. You need to have some of the grit that Dorsey and people. I'm talking about not Ken Dorsey. I'm talking about John Dorsey. Yeah. A lot of people like the gritty player that he got. And again, I agree with Blake. I thought he took a lot of talent, threw it up against the wall, and see what stuck. You know what I mean? That's the way he kind of rolls.
Yeah.
The other thing about John Dorsey is, I mean, he's not the general manager of the Lions. You don't know actually what they actually listen to as far as his picks concerned to I forget his first name, but his last general manager's is Holmes, and he's the one that getting all the credit. John Dorsey's just saying, here's what I think, and then they do whatever they want, right? So he could get another general manager position, which he does not have yet after so many years with the Browns, and he could tank again because he doesn't have the stability of Holmes.
Yeah, I love what Andrew Berry does with the salary cap manipulation. I love how he handles that whole thing. I really want to see what Andrew Berry and his scouting team. It's not just obvious. Andrew Berry gets either the credit or the blame for all the picks, but he's not the only one scouting 100%. These guys. Like he's just, making decisions in the end. I want to see what him and his team can do without DePodesta and I forget if somebody called him the analytical overlord in California. Get him out of here. Let us do our football things. You baseball nerd, go do baseball nerd things somewhere else.
Same with Haslam. Step back, bro.
Get out of here.
You got your stadium. We don't need Jerry Jones. We don't need that here. Like if you hire a guy to be your general manager and execute the game plan that you guys all agreed on when you're going through the interview process and what you want to do, then you don't come over the top and say, maybe not take this guy, but I really like this guy and this is my team. I don't know if that's happening. It sure feels like that
as
far as who we're
before.
playing sometimes, but it's just, I would like just Andrew Berry, let him do his thing. We like it, right? For the most part, don't get me wrong, there's misses, but there's always going to be misses. Just let the guy do his job. We don't need third-party stuff going on, especially when we're already kind of just garbage.
Yeah. The best run companies, organizations, sports teams are the ones where there's not micromanagement. Hire somebody to do the job and let them do the freaking job. If they need help, they'll come ask. They'll seek out the resources. And if they don't do the job well, you fire them. That's how it works. I just, this overreaching, I don't want to go down that tangent right now. We'll do enough of that in the off season, but I appreciate you guys jumping in here, doing this show tonight and everything. I know it's a little early in the week, but it doesn't really matter. Storylines as the week goes on, who's in, who's out. It's DTR quarterback. We're not going to score a lot of points. It's going to be whatever on Sunday, but good news is there's only 3 games left, so we are almost there, Browns fans. We're going to get through this together. We're going to get to the offseason. We're going to get to the good old-fashioned Cleveland Browns fans Super Bowl, and that is free agency and the draft. And hopefully that's all it takes is 1 year of that, and then we can be competitive again.
Yeah.
But
I'd like to wish you guys a wonderful holiday. You know, I don't think I'll see you guys before all that, but have a great.
What are you talking about?
I love it. Watched it yesterday, bro, along with National Lampoon. You know, I just went back to back. It was one of the best days of my life. Just kidding. Don't tell my wife and kids I said that. They'll be very upset. But I hope you guys have a great holiday. I hope everybody listening has a great holiday and have fun. Be safe.
Time out. Does that mean you're not doing a Bengals reaction show with us on Monday?
Shit, just kidding. I am doing a Bengals reaction show on Monday. When is Christmas? Oh,
Christmas is Wednesday. We still have to do a therapy session on Monday to get everybody set for the holidays.
Have a blessed weekend.
There we go.
And I will see you on Monday, and then we will talk about everything. Also, wish you a happy holidays.
That's all
hilarious.
I got. All right. Well, thanks again, guys. Again, if you're interested in more of our content, join thedawgs.com. Make sure you get in there now and be with us throughout the offseason because we're going to be doing a ton of stuff in there in the Discord, talking about draft prospects and free agents and everything. The conversations in there are in depth. So if you're that kind of fan and you just love talking Browns football and what they should do with this player or that position or whatever all the time, that's the place for you. So join thedawgs.com. And again, like and subscribe on YouTube. We appreciate everybody tuning in. And like Justin said and recently forgot, we will be with you guys on Monday for the reaction show to the Bengals game. I'm sure it's going to be another therapy session, so don't miss that. Make sure you got the notification bell tapped so you don't not see the notification for the show. Appreciate everybody. Go Browns. Hang in there. See you guys Monday.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order, and that code can be used over and over, so you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.